peace, power, and love. Humam Abdulmalik, once again, Blackanized International Nubian consciousness. Conscious chess moves. Again, before the sunrise. Again with motivational, eternal, universal concepts and this sharing the peace and love that I have in my heart, in my mind, that's developed from study, self-study, spiritually from my ancestors, from our ancestors, and trying to be part of the solution that we need in our community, in our lives, for solving our personal problems, our own problems, and developing ourselves in a spiritual manner, culture manner, intellectual manner, so that we can be better in what we do as individuals and be part of the collective. I want to start this morning by talking about this war that's going on in our community. It's a war, a senseless war that's going on in our community with our youth or young adults. I mean, it's a senseless, pathetic war when it's a greater war that's going on. It's like, almost like the Hatfields and the McCoys that live right across the street from each other. But this Bay and Don or whatever, not being funny and all that crap, they're saying it's us, against us and our youth and young adults that know each other, neighbors and all that, but somehow or the other we come under a social engineering that we're not aware of. It's social narcotics and Willie Lynch syndrome, the social narcotics of white supremacy and institutionalized racism. And every day, like yesterday, coming from a funeral of a friend that this time it was by natural causes or diabetes or illness or something, not out of violence or something. Coming back from there, going to a program, coming up Martin Luther King Avenue, about 15 police cars going past, and I'm saying, what happening, And that time they said it was a shooting on Mellon Street or something like that. Wasn't even dark yet. About 3 or 4 people got shot at, come to learn. I think 2 men and 1 girl or something like that. There wasn't no fatality at that point. But why? What's going on? This war against ourselves and our community is for what? I mean, some people say it's beasts and all that, or whatever it may be, for drugs, money, girls, women, beasts, or whatever. It must end, because we harming ourselves. We it's life that we're dealing with in that scenario. Is taking a life, hurting a life, and then doing life, and all affecting us. But we got to understand that through social engineering and by design, it's the reason why we're doing, but we can't, like people say, we can't blame the white man and all that. But that's the source of it all. But then we got to look in the mirror as individuals of making choices, making the right choices in our life. we got to look in the mirror and ask ourselves and question ourselves, why? Why are we doing this? What makes me want to go out there, put the gun in my hand, and aim it, cock it, and pull the trigger? Just like smoking cigarettes. What makes me want to go out there and strike a match and smoke a cigarette, and it's harmful? That bullet, that lead that's in that chamber of that gun is harmful. You know, it's going to hurt or kill somebody. And it's like, it's almost like the program is so powerful. Like when you ain't doing it in the streets, you're in there playing the game doing the same thing. So you being programmed in a program. You playing auto theft or something like that, all this violence, or shooting the zombies and all, but it's violence. It's violence, all violence. You know, they probably play football and all that on the games, but a lot of the games would be about violence, about shooting, about hurting, about harming people. And it's a game in your mind. So in that program where you programming your brain, your mind, and stuff like that, then you come out in reality and face reality, you still program. It's like a game to you, you know. But it's a war. It's a war that we don't need in our community. And it must stop. It's like 3 or 5, and then like it says something about a girl got shot by Baloo, part of that, and a couple of people got shot by Baloo all yesterday, you know, during school time and all that. It's like no regards for life, no regards for anything, you know. And then it was a shooting in Ward 7 right across the line or whatever. Man. And people always saying, what is the leadership doing about it? What about your leadership? What about us as parents? What about us as brothers and sisters? What about us being in our community, taking control of our community? What about us putting forth an effort, a unified effort as the community? It's a whole lot of thoughts and methodologies how we should deal with this problem. This problem is like a cancer, a virus. This is a dangerous virus and a dangerous cancer that's killing, that's harmful, that's active in our community. And we as, like, they talk about the leaders and stuff like that. We're all leaders. We can't put the weight on, say, the police. Can't put the weight on, like, other people, the councilmen, the ANCs. What about us as parents? What about us, being parents within our communities, in our homes? Because most of what's going on is our young children and young adults, that the direction of been having self-control or self-discipline has not been developed, and we must develop it. It's like a residue from earlier generations, and it's like generational effects from an era once before, the examples that was followed, or no parental guidance because of what was happening, the gains, monetary gains and all that, and people that was on drugs and all that. No discipline, no self-control, nothing. But we can't point the finger at nobody. We got to look in the mirror. We got to take control of our community in a loving way. We got to reach out and love We got to be a tough love, though. We got to reach out and just stop it. We got to stop it. We got to stop it. As a people, as a community, unified. That's going to support the effort of those. When people call, what are they doing? What are the police doing? What is this doing? And all that. What are we doing? It's a collective effort. We got to control our community. We got to come together and uplift our community. We got to do that. We got to be sincere in the effort. We got to overcome the fear of our youth, of our sons and our daughters and our cousins and our uncles or whatever. We got to institute avenues or alternatives for our youth. But it all starts with self, or planting the seed of knowing thyself, and you got to have some type of divine guidance and cultural guidance. You got to understand who you are or who we are as a people and come together based on that. And it's like every day we got to deal with a issue like that, because the guns are in our community like that, and the ones with the guns pulling the trigger don't have a foundation of spirituality, culture, or academic, or any discipline to be true, to be spiritually inclined, and come out of the animalistic predatory mentality that they're thriving on. And you talk about leadership and all that. It's a double-edged sword, because the people that's supposed to be the leaders, not talking about local, I'm talking about within, deep in this political system, they don't have our best interests. I ain't talking about the local political machinery, but I'm talking about deep in that political machinery, that we don't have statehood, we don't have self-representation. In that domain there, they just said, look at them, look how they act, look at them, they don't need this, they don't need that. And they don't really have no concern for us. But it's all by design. And with this political administration that's coming in, that's real deep in the political machinery, it ain't going to get no better for us as a community if we don't do it, if we don't come together. It's said that a whole lot of executive orders being signed that's going to put a lot of things in place that's going to make it harder. And it should bring us together just by knowing what's going on. We should come together in preparation, preparing for what's going to happen or come down the line. They're talking about things that's going on in Chicago, dealing with how they're going to deal with it. Like almost like a police state or something like that, or martial law in the state or city of Chicago. Same thing could occur here. But we as a people can count on everything that they do if we just come together in a unified effort, organize, and develop our infrastructure, develop our community, make our community strong and whole. But we got to do it. We got to step out of the comfort zone and stop saying them young is crazy and you can't talk to them. And why can't they? It's you. You was a youngin' before. You did a lot of the stuff that they are doing now, but you stepped back. So now you got to come back into what we created, the example that we lived or whatever. A lot of the youngins follow that example that we left, So now we got to go back and give another example. Example of change. The change of our character and conduct. So sometimes, we have an effect upon people. And some of them youth, our young youth, they have an effect upon their youth. See, it ain't no real generation gap. We make a generation gap of, between father and son and all that. But it's through communication that we erase that generational gap. And then another aspect of a generational gap is a missing group of people, a missing group, a generation missing of us. Almost to the certain point that at one time they were saying our black male is on the extinction list. Kind of comparing us to animals. But that's why we got to come out of our animalistic nature, our predatory nature. It's part of our makeup as a human being, but we got to grow out of that, out of our lower self. Let me read this comment, excuse me. One time before there was unwritten law to control them because people recognize and respect the unwritten law. Yeah, I got you. Galen Cole making a statement that at one time before there was unwritten law that controlled everything because people recognized and respected the unwritten law. I can see that, realization of that. You got to respect the unwritten law that it got to be in place. It got to be developed. It got to be by example. But we got to, with an unwritten law, we got to reach out with that unwritten law and reach out young adults and reach out youth and let them see the divine unwritten law, our culture unwritten law. That's where it all stems from, the understanding of who we are, the understanding of where we come from. And that is strong once you know who you are, where you come from, what you've done, and not be confined in a certain period of time that been, orchestrated by these the people that's in control. In reality, it all stems from white supremacy and institutionalized racism and the Willie Lynch syndrome. Some people say it ain't true, but whatever. If it ain't true, it's in existence. So they wrote this, and it's have its effect on our mentality and our spirituality, and that's what we got to realize. Vernon Coleman just joined us, and peace and black power and hotep assalamu alaikum around the board of our spirituality. We got to get back to the African spirituality of us as a people. And that's what we got to do yesterday, because the harmful effect in our community is affecting us all, from the baby on up, from the young adolescent child into the young youth and to the young adult, to the one after that, and to our elders. It's affecting us all. And if we don't do nothing about it, we're going to see the deterioration of our community by outside forces and inside forces. We got to really deal with the inside force first, because we know about the outside force, and we know their plan. We know that we got to develop institutions to overcome that. But we got to stop this war that's going on in our community. A senseless war for no cause, no purpose. It's because what? A beef, a money, girl, or whatever, but or your reputation, or how big or how strong, or it doesn't make you a man. A man deals with responsibilities. And we as a people in our community, we got to overcome whatever it is, a fear or whatever, and come in the community, and stop always talking about what's going on. We control what's going on in our community. A unified effort, and be serious about it. We got to just be as serious as our fallen comrades or our people that took a stand, that we can look back our ancestors, Malcolm, King, Mega X, Nat Turner, all these personalities and people, they were there in this realm, and things were the way they are now. We was getting killed way worse than what we're doing now. Brother was making a statement about our queens, but somewhat, yeah, there's a lot of them like that. Then a lot of brothers also like that. And me and you know what your statement was. But, oh, man. Yeah, it's so much. I like this interaction with my brothers, Galen and Vernon and all that. And the truth that y'all speak is definitely a truth. But it's still on us as a people to overcome this white supremacist and this institutionalized racism through the Willie Lynch syndrome. It's still what we got to do in our community. We got to be like the original Black Panthers with food programs. We can't just wait to Thanksgiving and feed people. And we got to do this every day. We got to give our people books and reach not only their hunger for food, but their hunger for information, their need for the information of their culture, who they are, the need for spiritual development, whatever it may be. But it's only one universal creator. And we got to come out this divide and conquer syndrome of Christianity, Islam, Muslim, conscious or whatever, and be one people with one purpose, one aim, the development of a nation that is about us. We not excluding anybody. We ain't talking about racism. We talking about be race people, concerned about who we are as a people. Our youth, our elders, and all in between. And I say this sincerely with all my heart, because I used to say I'll die for my people. No, I'm gonna live for my people. I'm gonna die anyway. I accept death. Death is my companion, but I'm gonna live until I die, however I die, because I don't know how it's gonna come. Don't even care. I just want to live, and while I'm living, I want to be productive in my community. I want to be a productive individual who shares what I know. All the information that I know, it ain't mine, and not my ego and being self-centered and arrogant. It ain't even about that. It's about us collectively knowing and being student teachers and be developers of our community in a melanated way, and so-called black way, being race conscious, because we've been programmed to be a detriment to ourselves. And if we don't come out of that program mentality, we got to reprogram ourselves, decode all the information that we come into that's alien to our growth and development as a people, as a black people, as a melanated people, Akabu land, it's the descendants of Africa and from here also, because we got to come out of his lies. His lies was a distortion of our story, the reality, because a lot of us, all the killing about the Native Americans and all that, that was us. But they don't let you know that. We got to know that a lot of us did come from the west coast of Africa or east coast of Africa, and we got to know that not only Christianity, Islam also enslaved us as African people. And we got to realize that, and we got to accept that fact and come out of that program or that religious stupor to a certain extent that it enslaves us or hold us in slavery. We seen some of it in Nat Turner, how they used Nat Turner because he could read and he knew the scripture, but they put in stuff in that scripture way back 325 AD in the Nicene Council that is corrupted, it's distorted. They stole everything that's in there from ancient Kemet, where the truth is etched in stone, and that's the reality. And we got to face the reality as a people, our Christian ministers, our imams, and everybody, and come together and practice in the development of that spirituality, but only one. Yeah, Birth of a Nation. Thank you, brother. I knew the name of the movie when I said that's a brother Coleman again. But we gotta do that. We can practice those religions, but don't let them keep us separate. That's the methodology of divide and conquer. One of them, among the many, that's the main one. Because most of our people practice one of those type religions or worship of the Creator. Islam, Christianity, Hebrew, and Jew, and all that. But I'm talking about us as a people. We got to develop and come together as a people, no matter what we practice. But it's, like I said, one call, one purpose, and this should be the purpose here. Red, black, and green, what our ancestors died for. We at this point because of our ancestors and by divine decree, but we here not to do something. We got to do something. We got to be part of something. And I want to say this senseless war in our community, we got to stop. If you're going to have guns, have them for self-defense against the real war that we're being attacked by a natural foe, by this system in all forms and fashions. We got to establish institutions to reteach and relearn our children about who they are. We can't just keep allowing our children to go through these educational systems and being in Eurocentrically programmed. Yeah, the brother, I keep saying the flag and pointing to the flag. Brother Marcus, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, he developed that flag for us to have a flag. If we're going to be patriotic for our cause, not for a cause this causes us to die, not for a system or whatever that sends us off to die. Then we can't come back and live. Good example, all the wars that we've been in, from Vietnam, before Vietnam, World War I, World War II, and all that. But, our patriotism should be for us, for our people. And I want to kind of come off of that. I'm saying that the war in our community got to stop. We as a community got to be the ones to stop it. We got to go to our youth and our young adults and reach them. We got to reach them. We got to grab them by the spirit and shake their soul and let them know it got to stop. It got to stop in our communities. We can't depend on nobody else to stop it. And knowing it's going on, looking right at it every day when we come out of the house and see everybody doing everything that they do. But it's our community. We are being imprisoned in our own community by fear. We got to overcome fear. Be the warriors that we are. Be the elders that we are. And doing that, develop and grow in our communities in a harmonious, loving way for our youth and our young adults. Yeah, we must start with our youth, and that's a good point. Because yesterday I went to a program, right? It was about reentry. It was by the National Reentry Network of Returning Citizens, and also the Women Involved in Reentry Efforts, WIRE. It was put on by Courtney Stewart and LaShona Thomas Ill, and they had a panel of youth, and it was so profound. I mean, it was so awesome that the youth, our youth, I think 21 from, say, in the 20s, had one, and it was about like the effects of parents and youth being incarcerated, but they had a film that won awards, right, about parents coming back from being incarcerated for some time and how they was doing the 3 strikes you out law in California when it first started, whatever, but they had this organization dealing with that. So when they were showing this, and they showed the movie about 3 different episodes about 3 different men coming out of incarceration, how they starting off and how they struggling and all that with their personal lives, with their family lives and the children and all that. That was what the film, the screening was on. But these youth, man, you talking about our youth? Now, see, all our youth aren't caught up in the paradigm of being under robot control. Some of them found themselves through whatever means or functions or whatever, and they were so profound. One sister, one brother was Noah Dyson. He dealt with issues of mental, say, because we on attack on all levels, mentally, spiritually, physically, or whatever, but he dealt with a thing about the mental aspect of it and how we need to reprogram ourselves and deal with the emotional side of this paradigm in society, that the pressures of stress and all that, or depressions developing now in our young youth also, not just the adults, all of us being attacked. But he was dealing with it with, saying that we need to communicate more, and our youth need, and our adults need to interact more with our adults, not being think they talking down to the youth, because they were saying the millennia, whatever this new term that they use and label our children, that but our children are just geniuses, multi-geniuses like Hotep. See, that's in our blood. It's in our DNA. All we have to do is understand ourselves and understand the universe. Understand that it's already divinely a prescript in us to be who we are. In our DNA, that melanated carbon people, that we are geniuses if we deal with ourselves. But the people that know who we are better than we know who we are block that stuff and put veils in front of that we got to tear down even to get to know ourselves, like our ancestors left us over the doorways of schools or training or initiation or whatever, when they say know thyself. And once you know thyself, you'll know your divine nature. So in dealing with that, these young children, not children, young adults, I'm just saying, this brother was nice. It was two sisters. One sister, she come from New York, right? And the police are how she'll step out of the door and see all the police every day and all the things that's going on, like a repressive state, right? She come here, she go to school, and then she don't see it. So it's like, God, dog, it ain't happening here. See, but it is happening here in different. She going to school, so she on college campus around all these other people that's really protected or whatever. And I apologize to everybody to making comments. I'm trying to do this and trying to read that, but y'all input is so great, and I thank you so much. Because if I'm not sharing it, like a comment to it, other people that's looking at the show can see it and they reading it. So you're very helpful, and thank you so much. That's Vernon Cooper and Galen Coles. Thank y'all so very much. Keep it up, because it's going to be interactive way better than this in the future, in the near future. But we need to keep communicating, keep building upon this energy, this like-mindedness, and this synergy of a divine nature, of a culture nature. We got to keep doing that. And this other sister, this brother name was Noah Dyson, right? He's the one, he got a part of a corporation called Love Catalyst, It's about opening hearts and changing minds. Awesome young guy. And the sister, there was two other sisters, and one was like from New York, I was saying. Then the other sister, she had what issue she was dealing with? With the other brother, he got incarcerated, right? And he had, while incarceration, he before the judge sentenced him to like 25 years or something, right? He take 20 away and say he only got to do 5, but they sent him to a level 5 institution, right? Where, where people doing life and this and that and all that. So he got a cellmate that's a lifer, right? And he only got 5 years. So you're going to put this dude in a cell with a guy that got life, never coming home, and he only got 5 years. So some animosity occurred, and so they got in a fight. He got stabbed and this and that. But that was his issue, and he developed somewhat, not mental issue, but issues about that and coming out and developing. But he changed. He stopped his criminal mentality and did a personal growth and development. But it's still not a hardship, but it's a struggle when you have a label upon you, and then you gotta try to get a job. You gotta better yourself, and it's always a hindrance. That's how the system is developed. For those of us who who one time or another became victims of the snares and traps that these people set, but being undisciplined, we choose another lifestyle, and then we get caught, then we go in there, then they put a label on us. Then it becomes difficult to get a job or keep a job or whatever, or grow or progress in the job, going high up in the job, because they'll see you got a record or something, then they'll hold you back. A brother called some people coon, whatever. I call them Negro pens, because they emulating the Europeans and the systematic acceptance of the system, that the social narcotics that we all suffer from, that we all went through, white supremacy and institutionalized racism of going to school, unless we was homeschooling from birth, so we ain't got to go through that system. And then we culturally inclined coming up. But other than that, if we went through this system of public schools anywhere in the nation, then we suffer from that social narcotics of white supremacy and institutionalized racism. And if we didn't do that and we was homeschooling, we still got to fight against it, and also the Willie Lynch syndrome. Then the other, sister, that was 5 of them. But this other sister, her name is Brittany Floyd. And, boy, you talking about Sister Soldier? This was a DC version of that. I mean, the articulation, the concept that she articulated was so revolutionary to a certain extent. All of them had a good pedigree of what they were talking about was awesome, and the articulation and everything, even though they was going through different changes, like mental, physical, economical, a shock, a reality shock and stuff like that. But the synergy was on that stage was so powerful. The articulation was so powerful. But this sister, Brittany Floyd, her thing was this here. It's public knowledge because she spoke about it yesterday. She smoked herb. She was in school and all that, but police raided her house, right, and found some herb in their house. And then they searched the house, and then they found some other stuff in there that didn't belong to her, but that belonged to her father. So they charged her with it, and also him, but they would have gave him like 100 years, right? So she took the charge and for that. So she got arrested, and they arrested her as a kingpin, whatever. And so she had to go through that. But that she was 18, right? Now she's 21. Her father still got about 30 years or something for some whatever. But she going through that, but it didn't stop her. Her mentality and her spirit was so awesome, man. I know, to me, she was like Francis. She was like a Francis Cress Welsing without that mentality. All she got to do is become more culturally inclined, but she demonstrated a soldier type mentality without the culture fixture. And if she can get that culture identity, then she gonna be a powerful sister. I'm telling you. And we gotta support these type of youth. We gotta support these type of youth with a direction of spirituality, African spirituality, and African culture. Not only Africa in Akabu land, but the Africa here, with all the people, descendants of Africa, and the people that roots come from there, that was here planted. Because we've been here everywhere, but we've been here in America way before everybody else was here. We was here. Proof of it is the Amalaks, the stone hedges in Mexico that depicts us, and the pyramids, and up and down the Colorado River, and also Sister California that was out in California. That was an Amazon queen, a group of Amazon sisters that California was based on way before these Niagara Falls or anybody else was here. We was already here. So we got to teach that to our children. We got to teach our story and stop teaching his lies. When we send our children to the public schools, We got to have schools in our homes. We got to have schooling in our rec centers, our community centers. We got to develop that. We got to go to this government and tell them we want our rec centers back again, because when we had the rec centers, we had another apparatus for teaching. We got to have the right type of mentality of our people that's doing this. I just want to commend again the brother Courtney Stewart and the sister Lashana Thompson for putting on this program yesterday. And it was so awesome, man. And we got to support our youth. We got to support our youth, that especially with this positive energy, this intellectual articulation and all that. And then we also got it with the same equal force, go in there and help our youth that's at war with one another, a senseless war where they grow up together and know each other, but different friendships develop and different ideologies develop based on a hurtful mentality, not based on spirituality or culturality. That's based on being under robot control by social engineering of the people that's in control and the people that's within this political system. That, you know, the private corporations of the CIA, the NSA, NSC that do experimentation. And it's a known fact. The Tuskegee experiment, there's HIV, the swine flu, and all these viruses that they create in laboratories and put them out in the public. And in this political climate, is a known fact that they got FEMA trucks and FEMA buildings that's empty right now, but it's already part of their plan and preparation for something to occur. So that's why we got to be observant. We got to be watchful and be preparing for whatever might happen. We got to be organized. It can't be like if something does occur, it can't be like we going out riding and all that. We got to be like a machine. We got to be like Steve Coakley said before he transitioned or was murdered by the system because of his ideology and his methodology of dealing with it. But he said everybody who have their certain skills, we got to have that in like a vanguard, a rear guard, and a middle guard. We got to be an army. We got to be an army for us. Instead of always being an army for the United Snakes of hypocrisy, we got to be an army for United States, unified, organized, black, Akabulan type of machinery, politically, spiritually, and all that. And we got to develop that yesterday. But I'm going to go back over this thing and I'm going to read everything that was said in these comments by these great brothers, Vernon Coleman and Galen Coles. And I really respect it and keep that up, not only on this version of our communication, but everywhere you at, every day. Be about what we're about this morning before the sun come up, and plant those seeds continuously every day, reaching out to our youth, you know, and reaching out to everybody in our community, reaching out to the leadership, reaching out to those who are led by that leadership, but the leadership of a right mindset, the leadership of a culture mindset, of a spiritual mindset. It's based on whatever you practice, but it's only one universal creator. And we got to come together in all aspects of all doors that we walk through or study in. But we got to be united. We can't be against each other. That's because he Christian or she Muslim and all that. We can't have that deterrent knowledge or speaking bad against each other. Because for one thing, we are this here. This melanin, that's what we are. Like Malcolm said, they ain't killing us because we Muslim, Christian, or Jew. They're killing you because you're black. That's what they're doing, man. They're trying to exterminate us because they know who we are. They know our divine nature. They know that they stole everything from us, plagiarized everything from us, and created the Bible. Everything. We got proof of it. we got to deal with our masterminds, our teachers, our Asui Quasi. He talks about how they went in Egypt today and still trying to destroy the information off the wall where truth is etched in stone. We got to deal with Phil Valentine. We got to deal with Farrakhan, Jeremiah Wright. We got to deal with all these people that's leaders in our community, but they got to come together in the reality of we got to be unified. I mean, all the information is good from all these brothers that, you know, that the European with his demonic nature and what he's done can be considered the devil and all that because of his action. Because he created this whole concept of the devil and God. Because if we deal with what it is, it's this nature, man. This nature, the energy, this supreme energy, intelligent energy that, and we call it that. But God reversed his dog, so we got to understand the concept and where it come from. But not to get sidetracked, what I want to say is this here. People like those young adults yesterday, we got to communicate with them. So it won't be no generation gap of communication. There won't be no generation gap of a whole missing generation of people that's dead, that's under this ground for our action or lack of action. The action of being at war and our lack of action, not getting in that and getting in between that before it erupts to the gunplay and say, brothers, sisters, whoever, it must stop. We must stop hurting each other, and we do it out of love, with love. Might have to be tough love, but we got to do it. Because we all leaders in this. We all suffer from this. Some way or the other. It's all interconnected. It's all interconnected with the energy, with the synergy. See, the synergy, energy, vibrations, and frequencies that these people be controlling in the music and what we see on the movie screen, all of it is for to affect us mentally. So what we put in our computer, it's going to come out in words, actions, or deeds. It's always with how we speak, how we carry ourselves. Then our actions become physical in the gunplay or whatever, or the knife play or whatever. See, we got to change our nature, our behavior. We got to change our understanding of who we are as a people, the divine people that we are, and act on that in love. We got to love each other. We got to promote love and peace and understanding. We can't be this hostility and this warfare that's going on in our community. We hurting each other, then they hurt us, and we just hurt people if we don't come out of that syndrome or that mentality. We got to develop the divine nature that we are, understand who we are, understand, not understand or overstand. You can do that once you understand the universe, in the DNA, that divine prescript is already in you. All you got to do is open your mind and open your eyes to who you really are. The divine being, the melanated being, the black man and woman, the God and goddesses of this planet. We got to unify in a unified effort based on that power of us, the spirituality of us, the love that we have for ourselves, not in the animalistic nature, but in the development of the spiritual, divine nature that we have, the leadership qualities that we have, the mindset of Imhotep, the mindset of the pharaohs. See, we got to go back to the originality, to the beginning. We just can't stop at 2017, because in that timeline, what all of that occurred, and the most detrimental occurrence that happened to us was in 400 something years. We go back to 16 something or whatever, and all. That's where our captivity come from, here and there. In Africa, they went in there and looted and took all the minerals and then colonized the mindset there. Then over here, they enslaved the people that was here, us, and beat into us and lynched us and burned us and raped us and killed us and all that, and made us to what we are. We went to becoming like monkeys, niggers, Negroes, and black people and African American. And I think I mentioned this yesterday or something, that it was like African American came in existence by what his name, Jesse Jackson. I was studying, but I ain't get back to it. In '68, something like that. That concept of African American came out. It was like a Black Power movement or through that. But we got to understand all concepts that we use, and that's one of them. We are human beings, energetic human beings, the beginning of the planet. Brother Omar, salam alaikum. We are the original people on this planet, the beginning of this planet, the beginning, and everybody come from us, or through us, through that, through our melanated, creative-like energy. And we got to realize who we are, and we got to take back our position of leadership on this planet. Because it's a worldwide pandemic that we're dealing with. The social narcotics of white supremacy and institutionalized racism and the Willie Lynch syndrome. It got us killing each other everywhere we're at. We're at war against each other, against ourselves. But if we unify here and unify where we can control the world, especially in Africa, because all the minerals that operate the technology that we use is in there, but it's a colonized mentality there that have us hurting each other, and the leadership is doing it there more so than the layman, more so than here, because they got a governmental system here. They got a foundation of institutionalized racism here, but it becomes imperialism there because you got all the other European countries going in there, even China going in there now. But we got to unify worldwide to overcome this paradigm of sickness, of illness. We know these people are sick and ill, but they're in positions of leadership. They so sick and ill because they don't deal with it. They can't deal with a higher self like we can. That's why they got these secret organizations and all that, the Masonic stuff going 33 and a third. How high the Mason go with their practices behind the closed door. But see, we 360 degrees of supreme knowledge, of the knowledge of nature, of divine knowledge. And we got to parlay on that information that's in our DNA. We got to wake up. And that's what's happening, because a lot of people become conscious in this era by divine decree. And with that, I want to say, man, tell somebody you love them. My brother, you dig? Yeah, it is the United Snakes of hypocrisy under satanic administration. And the proof is of the years that they've been in existence, from the so-called founding fathers that developed this system that we weren't even included in when they developed the Constitution. We were what? In captivity, so-called slaves, and the beginning of all that development of a mental grave. But we got to come out of this grave. We got to be resurrected like the phoenix. We got to be resurrected and rise up and develop unity, love, and peace among us. We need to go in our communities and change it, and only we can do it through love and peace and harmony. And we got to overcome fear. We can't live in fear, because fear is a detriment to our growth and development. My brother, Don T, my brother, what you got to do? We got to do something. We just can't stand there. Do something, right? That's our rallying cry for our movement here in Ward 8, Washington, D.C., because it's about a movement. It's about us taking over our communities and developing our communities based on our culture identity, based on our spirituality, the universal spirituality. Whatever you practice, we got to believe that it's only one creator. We know that. We got to practice it like that. We can't let Christianity separate from Islam, can't let Islam separate from the Hebrews, and can't let the Hebrews separate from the Jews or whatever. We got to be one goal, one purpose, one aim. the growth and development of our people. We got to stop this senseless war going on among our young adults. That's what it is war. Because that's the only way you can inflict this type of carnage, this kind of hurt, when there's a war with no purpose, no aim. We ain't establishing, we're destroying. We're destroying our temples. We're destroying our communities. People living in fear and expecting somebody else to do something. They got to come out to fear and be warriors. Our sisters got to be like the queens of Zingas and the queen of Minas and all that. They were warrior sisters. Our brothers got to be like Shaka Zulu, like Malcolm X and King. When King came to his senses and knew that his dream was not a reality that we're trying to establish. His dream became a nightmare because he said he might be leading the people into a burning house. The house is still on fire today. We need the water of knowledge, pure knowledge, to put it out. We need unity. We need unity, just like the unity between King and Malcolm X was coming together. King talked to Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. It was coming together. The Christians got to overcome their arrogance, and the Muslims got to overcome their arrogance and come together. Whatever we practice, but it's only one, and we got to deal with the oneness of our reality. We got to deal with the oneness of the unity and love coming from the source, the root of our spirituality. We got to go back to the African spirituality, where the Dungo looked up at the sky and seen the Sirius sky before they even had telescopes and writ it down and all that. We got to go back to when we build pyramids all over the planet Earth, in Mexico, all up and down the Colorado River, in ancient Kemet and Sudan and all that. We are the creators of that. They want to say the Anunnaki did it or the Nephilim, but we know that it started with us, from us. We was in control at the time before the Hyksops came in. The early Jews came into Egypt first. Then the Greeks came behind them. Then the Romans after them. And they stole everything that they got. Now they are the leaders of they reversed everything. And they are the leaders of this distorted reality that we live in. They distort our reality and make our reality illusion. Because they got us chasing our aspirations and that they build for us to be like somebody that they build up. The commercialism lies like be like Mike or be like this. And the people that got all this money, and we know what hurts us, but we don't pool our money together to build industry situations like controlling what we look at through the movie industry, control what we listen to on the radio waves, all this money we got. But you know what? We so indoctrinated by this, and on this drug, we enjoy this drug or the social narcotics of white supremacy and institutionalized racism. We enjoy it so much that we become Negro pins. We sell our soul and become Negro pins and don't have no concern for each other. We be individualistic, and this only concern about ourselves and not being a family, extended family. That's what we are missing. We're missing the concept of who we are. We got to regain that. We got to re-educate it. We got to reprogram ourselves. We got to come out that indoctrinated syndrome that we in. We got to come back home. We got to come back into this innerverse and understand who we are as a people through love, peace, and understanding. And with that, I'm going to say, in your journey today, not only today, but every day, reach out to somebody in love and peace and understanding of who we are as a people. We're loving people with all the attributes of love and development and all that. We warriors also. Ain't nothing about being humble and living a life of humility. Once you know yourself, ain't nothing can stop us to be who we are. But we got to know ourselves and understand ourselves and become a family of love and peace again, and come out this fake illusion that's created for us, and deal with the reality of who we are first, our nature, our divine nature. And from that, understanding that, reach out with love and go into communities and be unified and organized. Dropping seeds every day, positive seeds of love and change, and watch them be cultivated. All you got to do is speak the truth when you're talking to our youth, wherever they may be, it may not seem like they hearing you or taking heed to what you say, because they might have the pants down, or smoking the blunt or drinking the brew or whatever. But when you drop the seeds of truth, can't nothing stop that. See, your subconscious mind hears more than your conscious mind. All you gotta do is drop the seed. When you're not cultivating, it's becoming self-cultivated, because the spiritual, that divine nature, they're waiting for the truth, the light of truth. And we got to be the student teachers and give them that truth. We got so many very, very, I'm telling you, man, this sister, y'all gonna hear about the sisters and these brothers that it was at this program yesterday. This sister, man, like a sister soldier, like a Francis Cress Wilson, but they was articulate and very intellectually inclined, but they need that culture definement and can't just get lost in this system. Because, see, that's what they want. They want our bright minds to work for them, to perpetrate this system, instead of the developing of our system within this system, this infrastructure that we have to do. From a foundation we got to build up. We got to talk to Claude Anderson about the economical disposition that we need to develop. We got to get behind our councilman in Ward A, because this is the movement. This is going to be our infrastructure, like Sister Reverend Classy said the other morning. What this is, Sister Pastor Clackley, yeah, she said Ward 8 is the infrastructure. Because I always talking about unifying, organizing, developing the infrastructure. See, by us being in Washington, D.C., in this part of Washington, D.C., where a lot of war is going on, it's going on all over the city, but it's really going on here, and we got to stop it. And I say that, and I say it wholeheartedly, and I say it sincerely. And I say that I don't say it in fear. I say it as a warrior, a spiritual warrior, mystical warrior, warrior priest, king, and a mystic griot. I say it as being anointed in the light of Christ, because Christ ain't nothing but a title. I say it as a courageous, generous servant of the sovereign Lord, because I love my people. It's in my DNA. See, I've been through all that. I've been in a cesspool. I've been in a quagmire of this bull crap, which I'm still in, but I got the way out, the light of the divine light of our ancestors and the pathway of our ancestors and our divine nature. And we just got to open up into it. Just open your eyes. Stop walking around with your eyes wide shut, selling your soul, becoming under robot control. We got to be the warriors, the warrior priest kings and the warrior priestess queens of the proud and majestic race of people based on love and understanding. And with that, I say, whoever you meet today, tell them that you love them. Tell them that, they are somebody, we are somebody, and we're stronger together. Not the I and the me, but the we. And we got to come in our communities, man, and stop this senseless war. With the breath of life. Oh, yeah, I wanted to say this, leave with a little humor. I was talking to an Oracle sister, Sister Inky, and she said when I do that, she thought I was going into meditation. It may be meditation, but a form of meditation. I said, yo, listen to me. But she said that, but that's the breath of life that the Creator have allowed us to, again, sojourn in our world, in this realm, in this dimension, and be productive to make it better for us, not as individuals, but collectively for our people, our race. First and foremost, we got to heal among ourselves, because we've been under attack for so many years, man, that now the time is for us to come together as one and realize that the time is now, especially in this political climate. We got a madman at the controls. No class, no nothing. So erratic, so spontaneous lie and everything. But he representing the leadership on the political scene. But we got to have and develop our own leadership among us and do it in the divine way. Do it with love and understanding. And with that, I say I love my people, and you are my people. I am you, because without you, it won't be no me, us. We shall be free mentally and spiritually, academically. We got to build this foundation from the bottom up once again. Get the Wall Streets working again. Have a nice day. But we got to be able to defend those this time. Have a great day. Love y'all. Peace.